Cowboys, masculine, daring, rough, poets. All of these are true, though we tend to focus on the more dramatic aspects of the cowboy life. Poetry has been a part of Wrangler culture since cattle were brought across the Panhandle in the early days of the U.S. Now almost a forgotten art, cowboy poetry is making a big comeback with the help of Utah state parks.
I love cowboy poetry. I've been doing it for about 20 years. Cowboy poetry is talking about a way of life and a way that people conduct themselves.
Western music is just cowboy poetry put to music. It's a way of keeping our history alive. You go back, a lot of these entertainers here, they sing songs from back in the 1800s, and then they sing about a way of life that's gone by.
Antelope Island in the middle of the Great Salt Lake has a history of its own with forts and ranches going back to the early days of Mormon settlement in Utah. Today, the island is a state park with activities and recreation from one side to the other. Even with a more modern outlook, Antelope Island still honors its Old West heritage annually with a cowboy poetry event that invites Western bards to come together in celebration of tough, rugged riders and the spoken word.
Now, if you're going to eat it, be careful what you name it. Call it biscuits, spuds, gravy if you're going to claim it. Because if you name him Sweetie, Freckles, Sugar Babe, or Dude, well, your family won't allow you to have him barbecued.
Started out here about 10 years ago, and maybe a half a day on Saturday, 5 entertainers, maybe 5 people, and it's exploded over the years to 38 entertainers, vendors. We have a buckaroo dance, we have Dutch oven dinners, and horseback rides, whatever you want.
Got the singing and poetry, old cowboy stories, and we do our horse rides out here.
We have great activities for the kids. We have a little passport booklet that has activities, and they can go around the vendor booths and do these activities.
While Antelope Island holds the Cowboy Legends Poetry Read every Memorial Day weekend, the art form has gained renewed interest nationwide. Groups like the Western Music Association and Cowboy Poets of Utah encourage individuals who both ride and write to cultivate their talent and use it to describe the Western experience. Poetry is often seen as an urban ideal, with someone like a cowboy being simply too uncouth to produce high art or stirring prose. But as these poets attest, inspiration is easier to find in the beauty of a cattle drive through the West than in the cold corridors of a modern metropolis.
That's why we're here. This era of the cowboy, it only lasted maybe 30 years at most, but yet it has had such an effect on the populace with Western shows, John Wayne, whatever.
It's important to keep cowboy poetry alive because it tells the stories of our forefathers.
From the Poetic Trailhead, I'm Don Dunwell.